Hi guys, my name's Bill. In this video I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot a Samsung dryer that shuts off mid-cycle and what you need to check. Okay, so there's two symptoms we need to look at for this problem. One is the dryer will turn back on after a period of time, maybe 15-30 minutes or something like that's passed by. And the second one is the dryer will not turn back on at all. Okay, so for the first symptom of the dryer that turns back on after a period of time, first thing you want to check is the dryer's venting system. If it's longer than 3 or 4 feet, it should be made up of the smooth pipe. If it's longer than 3 or 4 feet and you have this, it'll cause too much restriction. And what happens is the high limit thermostat on the heater assembly will trip too many times, and that'll trigger an error code for the dryer to shut off. Also, the flap at the end of the dryer vent where it goes outside your house, you want to make sure that they can open up. If they're plugged up with dryer sheets or a bunch of lint, or if an animal's made a nest, then the air's not going to be able to vent out. The heater's going to overheat and it's going to cause the same error code. Now, after you shut the dryer off and turn it back on, it will run again, but you're going to have the same problem. So definitely make sure you got the smooth dryer pipe if it's longer than 3 or 4 feet. Now, for the symptom of the dryer that turns back on, you could also have a bad motor. And how you would know this is if the dryer starts making a loud humming sound when it initially kicks on, and maybe when it first shuts off, it won't turn back on right away, but if you wait 15 minutes, maybe half an hour, you hit the start button, then it fires up, well then you know your motor's bad and it's going to need replaced. Now I'm going to put a link in the description for a video on how to do that, so make sure you check that out. Okay, so if your dryer won't start, there's two things we need to look at for this. Does the control come on and won't start, or is the control dead so you can't start the dryer? Let's check if the control won't come on first. So the first thing you want to do is find the panel in your home, find the breaker that controls the dryer, and to check if it's tripped or not. A lot of times there'll be a little red indicator if it is tripped. If you're not sure, just turn the breaker off, turn the breaker back on, and then go check your dryer, see if it comes on. If the control didn't come on before and you reset the breaker, and now the control comes on, then you have a bad breaker and it should be replaced. They do get weak over time and it can't carry the current that it used to, so when the heater's running, it could have overheated the breaker and tripped it off. Now if the control did not come on after you reset the breaker, next thing you want to check is the power cord. So unplug it from the wall and inspect the terminals on the end of the cord. Make sure they're not brown or discolored, loose, or anything like that. If it is brown or discolored, replace the cord because the jar is probably not getting the correct voltage. If the cord looked good, next thing you want to check is the terminal block on the back of the dryer. You want to look for any brown or discoloration, any broken wires, anything that doesn't look like it's supposed to. Don't put your fingers back there with the dryer plugged in. We're just making a visual check here. A lot of times you could have a burned off cord. That'll stop the dryer from running, of course. So moving on, we reset the breaker, we check the power cord, everything looks good. So now we plug the cord back into the wall and we're going to check for voltage at the terminal block. So my meter set on volts AC. Now here's where you don't want to touch this with it plugged in. Check across these two screws, going to get 120 volts. Across here, we're going to get 120. And on the two outside, you should get 240 volts. Now if you're getting the proper voltage here and the control won't come on, we have to make sure the control board's getting the power. Let's check that next. Now we're going to check the control board, so make sure you disconnect the dryer from the wall again so we can remove the top. Just take the two screws out of the back. And once you have those two screws out, we can just pull this off. We need access to the control board, so we're going to remove these 3 screws right here. Now that we got those out, we can take this control out and get it up on the side of the dryer to where we can check the board for voltage. On the control board, this black wire on the motor relay connector is the power for the control. So I got my meter set on volts AC. My black lead to the meter is touching this black wire. The dryer's plugged back into the wall at this point, so you don't want to touch anything else on here. And I'm going to take my other lead and touch the center screw on the terminal block here. Now I'm getting 124 volts. That means this control's getting power, so if your display doesn't light up when you try to start the dryer, then the control board's bad. Now if you have a dryer that the control does turn on, and when you press start, it does not start, make sure you watch the video I have linked in the description. I just did a complete video on how to troubleshoot this dryer if the control comes on but it won't start. Now if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that now. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button, and thanks for watching.